Shadow Puppets, it was also the theme song for a movie about racism and comes from this, Behind the Mask.
That's right. And actually the title of the film was called Just a Little Red Dot.
And this is a man who spent 2 years traveling through Japan, studying music and a whole different way of expressing yourself in music. Yet, you know what it sounded to me like? And I said, doesn't it sound like there's a little bit of Caribbean music in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I guess music is such an international thing that we...
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's an international thing, and also with this particular album, what I'm trying to do is to take different kinds of world music, like a bit of Caribbean, some Celtic, some Spanish, some Japanese, some Chinese, some Indonesian, and sort of bring the different influences together to create like a real sort of global album.
When you said that the flute found you, that you were going to be in film, you decided that was your calling?
Well, when I was a kid, I was really into filmmaking.
So when you heard this flute, what happened for you?
Well, I think a lot of musicians, what really attracts them is just the sound. When I heard the sound of the flute and when I started playing, that just sort of takes over. And, you know, you're just drawn to that and you want to explore that more. Okay,
we have how many different there's a lot of flutes. These are all from China, Japan?
Most of them are, yeah. This one, this is from China. This is also.
Do they all sound different?
They all have a slightly different timbre, yes. And this is actually Native American.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. It's called the Native American love flute.
Oh, make a sound on the love flute. Well, don't you like the name, the love flute? How wonderful. How many different flutes do you use in Behind the Mask?
I used about five different ones. But there was an album I did previous that had 16 different flutes. It was called Flute Traveler, and it was just like an exploration of that.
How many flutes do you own?
Oh, hundreds.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Hundreds?
Many.
We were talking, we had somebody talking about genealogy. Was I correct when I said in the opening, I don't know if I got it correct order, your father was German and your mother was?
Japanese.
Japanese?
Yeah. Japanese-Canadian, okay. Yeah. But the first time I went to Japan, I actually did explore my heritage. And it was a fantastic experience, and that's why I kept going back and back and back. And we traced it right back to 645.
Whoa!
Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah.
My son actually went to a camp once in Canada that had an exchange program with a camp in Japan, and for the airfare you got to go for 2 weeks and live with a Japanese family. It was one of the most profound influences of his life.
Really?
Yeah, he loved the culture, loved the people, loved everything about it.
Yeah. Well, it's a wonderful, I mean, it's a wonderful place to visit, and the thing that I found when I lived in Japan, there's always something new. You know, there's never a dull moment for me. I mean, there's always something new to explore.
Just one last question. You said when you went there you would want to bring back to us something about the music that you would like to... What is it that we don't have here? What are we missing? What is it you'd like to bring to us?
Well, I think that the Japanese music, they have a lot of really interesting sounds, like from the instruments like the koto, the flutes, and also just the whole aesthetic of it. You know, Japanese arts tend to be very inspired by something like nature, and with my music I try to do the same thing, like to bring sort of something more than just music. There's like a message or a story behind each piece.
There's a wonderful story behind The Mask, and when you buy the CD, if you just open it up, you read a fascinating story. It's Ron's story, it's Ron's album. It's called Behind the Mask. We're going to take a break. We're back in a moment.